we are not economists, but we sometimes like to play one. We are tech analysts, and the two things are symbiotic at times. And Pat, this week, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, this is not a really a what I would call a partisan. This is a data-driven organization, revised down the jobs by 818,000. Massive number, largest I think since somewhere around 08 or 09, if I'm remembering this. And obviously there was a reason those revisions at that time were complicated. That was the great financial crisis in the wake of that. But Pat, we've been hearing all year, soft landing, economy is strong. We've had decent job reports. The market's been stable and steady. Delays have been in lowering interest rates. High interest rates have slowed down home buying. They've slowed down auto loans. They're creating a bit of a credit crunch within businesses. It's hard to get credit if you're a small business right now. People are spending beyond their savings now. Defaults are rising quickly. A lot going on, Pat. And now we're finding out the job market ain't that good either. And by the way, something you and I have been seeing and feeling, we talked about the Cisco layoffs. We talked about the Dell layoffs. The entire market of the Silicon Valley is down to 2019 or below levels. So these big companies are laying people off in droves. So basically the data has come into the market, Pat, that validates what we had been seeing and feeling and hearing, but like our eyes continue to deceive us with the data that was being presented to us. Pat, this was crazy. I mean, I said it's very disconcerting to have this kind of data be able to come out, completely pivot the narrative. We've been told the economy's great, everything's fine, turns out to be bogus. And now we're heading into an election and we're being told that, parties are going to fix the economy. Both parties are going to fix the economy, which I don't understand how that's possible because one party has created this economy and now they're going to, it's like creating a security vulnerable product and then coming out with a security product to fix it. It doesn't make sense to me. So it's wild what's going on. My quick tie to tech and pass over to you is, Pat, we are actually, in my opinion, just getting the validation that we all knew was true. I think every rational person had been watching the market, seeing how many fewer jobs that we're posting. Companies, our clients are telling us about tighter budgets. They're trying to do more with less. They're cutting back their teams. And if tech wasn't growing, why in the world would we think anyone else is? So, it's kind of crazy, Pat, but I think this is exactly what has been signaled for some time. But it's kind of like when a GPS tells me to turn right, but I can see the building I'm going to in the left, but then I get stuck in this, do I turn right? And every so often I just turn right. And it feels like most of the world keeps turning right, even though the building they are going to is right over there.
Yeah, Dan, there's so many things to talk about in relation to this. First of all, is this a political thing or not? Right? The interesting, the timing of this is dropped right in front of the DNC convention, right? And if you say out of one side of your mouth, hey, the good numbers were political, I mean, it's dropped right in the middle of the convention. So maybe you can say, well, it's not political. And if it's not political, maybe it's based on the data collection that. And we debate the means and methods on CPI a lot, and how this can be this off. By the way, it based at least what Yahoo Finance said. This is like the biggest downward revision. They only went down to 2018, but in 6 freaking years, right? And it's a massive one. And so there's that element on it. Is it just a bad methodology? When I think broader in terms of what is happening and why our economy is not doing well, it's super clear to me. We're spending too much money. The government is way spending more money than it can bring in. And not as much investment into true longer term economy growing things. You can short term spike growth by increasing government spend on government stuff. Okay. And in fact, in the last 10 years, we've seen the largest increase in government workers and government spend than in the complete history before that. And it's like, and then you're thinking, okay, well, why don't we vote for the party who's going to do this? I am absolutely not confident that I'm absolutely confident that no party is going to attack this. And the reason is because it will not get you voted in. When I'm hearing, hey, we're going to grow our way out of this on the conservative side. And the Democratic side, it seems to be, hey, we're going to tax our way out of this by soaking the rich. By the way, and Steven Sinofsky had a great analysis on it. You could take all the money, literally all the money, not just the taxes from the top 100 people, richest people out there. It wouldn't even make a dent in the deficit. Not even a mark, right? So you can you can take all of the money away, kind of like the Russians did in the 1920s Bolshevik revolution, where they came in and they took all the gold and they took all the money from all the rich people and they nationalized everything. That's not going to help us. So I'm not that optimistic about that. And my final comment on this is that there's also a school of thought that says, hey, as long as we're not the worst of the G7 or the G10 based on valuation and currency and earnings, we're going to be fine. Here's the problem. At some point, we all default on our loans and we can't pay it.
Yeah.
Okay. and then it's like, well, hey, if we all default, then no, it's like, no, that's not going to solve this long term. Yeah, I'm not optimistic, Dan.
Yeah, and just a stat from the Tax Foundation, half of taxpayers pay 97.7% of the tax. And so, this kind of idea of people, and again, I agree that people should pay their fair share, but I think it's always taken out of context because people are paying their fair share, and then we use it to create this sort of populist movement against people who pay. And it creates a lot of resentment from job creators, for entrepreneurs, for business leaders, who, by the way, are taxed at like 50 different angles of every dollar they make. And I got to run, but then we got this whole thing. Now they want to tax money you haven't even made yet. Is a topic that's come up, and I put my post out on that. Pat, absolute one of the worst ideas ever. I can't believe it's even being taken seriously right now. I don't know. I guess I'll join.
Listen, we have two case studies: Soviet Union and China. Once you disincent entrepreneurialism and moving up the chain, you lose innovation. People lose their motivation to work. And even those two countries, even though I know it's CCP, they very much have changed their stance. And Soviet Union is no longer, it's Russia. I mean, really there's only two communist countries, North Korea and I think maybe Angola. Sorry. And it's like, that's it. Like this stuff, it does not work.
I don't know. Things are going pretty well in Venezuela. All right.
They actually are. Just cut out the fat and stuff that we don't really need.
That's Argentina. Venezuela's a mess. Okay. No, I know what you're going with that. But yeah, listen, dude, we could jump in and dive on this all the time. We won't do it all the time because there's so much tech stuff to cover. But look, a strong economy starts with a strong tech market, and it is what it is. And tech is the driver. It's deflationary, but it's also productivity growth out the yin yang. That's an official term, out the yin yang.